The debate stage was supposed to be just another night of political theater. Cameras rolling, the audience waiting for sharp lines and predictable exchanges. But within seconds, the entire atmosphere shifted. A moderator asked about transparency in deals and agreements, and Jasmine Crockett leaned into her microphone without hesitation. "Mr. Trump, you want to talk about honesty? Then tell the American people the truth about your hidden deal. It wasn't signed in front of cameras, but the documents are no longer your secret." The audience gasped. This wasn't a throwaway jab. Every eye in the studio locked on Trump. He forced a sharp laugh, the kind that tried to project confidence but cracked with unease. "What nonsense is this?" he snapped. "Another fake attack, another desperate lie." But Crockett's voice cut straight through his protest. "You can laugh all you want, but I have dates, signatures, and names. This isn't gossip. It's evidence of the agreement you tried to bury from the American people." The room erupted. Some shouted, "Tell the truth!" Others clapped, their energy boiling over. The stage had turned into an arena. Trump's tone spiked, his volume climbing as he fought to reclaim control. "Lies! This is a setup. I'm the only one protecting this country. Don't fall for her garbage." But Crockett didn't flinch. She delivered her words like a blade to the heart of his defense. "If you're protecting this country, then explain why you signed a secret deal that betrayed your own promises." The line detonated. The crowd exploded into noise, cheers, boos, shouts, applause, so loud it rattled the stage. Broadcasters struggled to keep up with the chaos pouring into millions of living rooms. In that instant, Trump wasn't the aggressor. He was cornered, defensive, fighting to block a wave of accusations that were only getting louder. Crockett had landed the first devastating blow, and America was glued to every second. The debate wasn't just another TV spectacle. It was prime time, carried by every major network, a night meant to show strength, vision, and control. On one side of the stage stood Donald Trump, towering in presence, trying to dominate with the same bravado that had carried him through years of political storms. On the other side stood Jasmine Crockett, a congresswoman who had built her reputation on fire, precision, and the courage to say what others avoided. The hall was packed to the last seat. Reporters lined the aisles, phones in hand, waiting for sound bites to flood the internet. Viewers at home leaned forward as the tension built. This wasn't a routine sparring match. It felt like an ambush waiting to detonate. Trump came in with his usual weapons, mockery, confidence, and the certainty that no one could outshout him. He had spent weeks projecting control, calling Crockett irrelevant, insisting she was desperate for attention. His base believed the night would be another easy victory. He would crush her under the weight of his charisma and turn her into another forgotten critic. But Crockett had done her homework. Behind her calm, opening smile was a dossier of facts, leaks, and insider confirmations. She hadn't come to trade insults. She had come to detonate a truth bomb. When she dropped the first revelation, the energy shifted. People in the front rows whispered, trying to process her claim. Some journalists shot up from their seats, typing furiously, already pushing headlines into circulation. Crockett accuses Trump of hidden deal. Trump, sensing the danger, doubled down. He leaned forward, pointing at her, voice thick with rage. "She's lying. Totally lying. These people will say anything for ratings. Anything." But Crockett kept her composure. She reminded the audience of who she was, the voice that challenged powerful figures without blinking, the fighter who refused to play by the polite rules of politics. And now she was standing eye to eye with the most polarizing figure in America, armed with words sharp enough to slice through his defenses. The moderators tried to regain control, but the moment was slipping away from them. The event was no longer theirs to manage. It belonged to Trump and Crockett, and to the millions of Americans watching as history unfolded. The stage was set. The participants weren't just politicians anymore. They were avatars of two Americas. Trump, representing defiance, power, and raw dominance. Crockett, embodying confrontation, accountability, and the raw demand for truth. And with every camera lens focused on them, the audience sensed this wasn't a passing clash. It was the opening scene of a fight that would leave lasting scars. Trump's face tightened as Crockett leaned in again, her voice unwavering. Let's stop pretending, Mr. Trump. This isn't rumor. This is a signed agreement. Your signature, your allies, your promises traded away behind closed doors. You can't shout this into silence. The audience roared, half in shock, half in approval. Trump slammed his hand on the podium. Fake! Fake documents! I never signed anything. She's a liar, a total fraud. Crockett didn't flinch. She raised a sheet of paper into the camera's view, the faint image of a signature visible even from a distance. Here it is, February 15th. Your name, your deal. Proof that while you were promising Americans one thing, you were secretly delivering something else. Do you deny this signature is yours? Trump's eyes narrowed. He tried to interrupt, his words tumbling out in fury. That's doctored. You're showing garbage. This is what they always do. Make up papers, make up lies, anything to smear me. But Crockett's timing was lethal. She cut him off before his anger could settle. Then why are the witnesses, your own former associates, ready to testify under oath? Why are emails already circulating? Why do the very people you called loyal now willing to confirm the truth? Gasps rippled through the crowd. The moderators looked helpless. The shouting from the audience grew louder, some yelling, "Show the emails," while others chanted Trump's name in defense. Trump tried to turn the tide. He leaned toward his mic, voice cracking with rage. This woman is a disgrace. She's exploiting lies, trying to destroy me because she can't win honestly. Nobody believes her. Nobody! Crockett shot back instantly. Look around you, Donald. The people believe the truth. You can scream all night, but your deal is already out. You thought you could bury it forever, but you buried yourself instead. The audience erupted again, the studio vibrating with energy. Reporters were live tweeting every line, hashtags exploding across platforms. On split screens across the nation, Americans watched the clash unfold like a political boxing match, every punch a revelation, every counterpunch weaker than the last. For once, Trump's volume wasn't enough. His interruptions felt frantic, not powerful. Crockett's precision kept piercing through the noise, every fact delivered like a nail sealing the coffin of his defense. The conflict wasn't just heated, it was unstoppable. Millions of viewers could feel it, that Trump was no longer dictating the story. He was being dragged into one written by someone else, live, in front of the entire nation. Trump's voice cracked as he tried to retake control. His words tumbled over each other, louder, faster, more desperate. This is all lies. Nothing but lies. She's a nobody. Look at her. She's pathetic. You people are being fooled. But the audience no longer sat in silence. They shouted back, some with cheers, others with jeers, the clash of voices turning the debate hall into chaos. Crockett leaned forward, her tone calm but cutting, waiting for his roar to fade just enough. And then she struck. You call me a nobody, Donald, but tonight I'm the one holding your truth in my hands. And the truth is this, your so-called leadership was built on a secret deal you thought no one would ever see. You betrayed the people who trusted you. That's not strength, that's cowardice. The words sliced through the noise like steel. The room froze for a moment, suspended between her accusation and his reaction. Cameras zoomed in on Trump's face, his jaw clenched, his eyes darting. You shut up, he shouted, his fist slamming the podium so hard the microphones jolted. You don't talk to me like that. I made this country great, greater than ever, and you're nothing but a disgrace. You're a liar. But the crowd was no longer with him. A wave of applause rose for Crockett, drowning out his tirade. The sound was deafening, cheers, stomps, chants echoing through the hall. Crockett didn't smile, didn't gloat. She simply spoke into the roar of the crowd, her voice steady and sharp. This is what accountability looks like. The louder you scream, the more guilty you sound. America deserves the truth, and tonight they finally have it. The eruption that followed was unlike anything the studio had seen. People stood on their feet, clapping, shouting, chanting her name. Some yelled, "Exposed!" Others simply screamed in disbelief. Trump's face turned red, his words collapsing into a string of incoherent protests. Fake. Rigged. Total setup. But each attempt to regain footing only made him look smaller against the force rising in the room. For years he had mastered the art of controlling the stage, but before millions of viewers, the stage slipped away from him. The man who thrived on dominance was visibly unraveling. The climax had arrived, not with policy points or debate rules, but with one devastating phrase from Crockett and one uncontrollable meltdown from Trump. It was the moment everyone would remember. The debate hall didn't calm down. Even after moderators tried to move on, the energy was too explosive to contain. Viewers at home weren't changing channels. They were locked in, watching history play out live. Reporters filed headlines in real time. Trump melts down as Crockett drops bombshell. Clips of his shouting, her decisive line, and the thunderous reaction flooded social media. Within minutes, hashtags like #HiddenDeal and #TrumpMeltdown dominated every platform. Memes, edits, and live commentary multiplied by the second. For supporters of Trump, the sight was painful. Some insisted it was an ambush, a setup, a media trap designed to humiliate him. They clung to his rage as proof of his passion, his refusal to bow. But others, millions watching from couches, offices, and bars, saw something else. They saw a man exposed, a leader undone by his own temper and by facts he couldn't control. Crockett, meanwhile, didn't let the noise consume her. She delivered one more strike before the moderators pulled the plug. "This isn't about me. It isn't even about you, Donald. It's about the American people and their right to know when their trust has been sold. Tonight, the truth is bigger than both of us." Her words landed with finality. The audience answered not with silence, but with another eruption, applause, chants, a standing wave of energy. The image of Trump gripping the podium, red-faced and shouting against a wall of cheers, seared itself into memory. By the time the broadcast ended, commentators were already calling it the meltdown of the decade. Panelists argued furiously. Was this the night Trump lost his grip on the narrative? Was this the moment Crockett broke through into national legend? The next morning's headlines gave the answer. Every front page, every screen replayed the same sequence. Crockett's accusation, Trump's fury, the crowd's eruption. What was supposed to be another debate had transformed into a cultural flashpoint. For weeks, the fallout continued. Supporters of Crockett praised her bravery, her refusal to back down. Trump's allies scrambled to contain the damage, spinning stories, attacking the media, blaming everyone but him. Yet the images remained, the meltdown, the phrase, the roar of the crowd. It became a symbol, not just of one clash between two politicians, but of something larger, how fragile power can be when confronted with truth. A single phrase, a single revelation, and the illusion shattered. And as Americans replayed the moment again and again, one message rang louder than Trump's shouts or Crockett's words. The crowd had spoken, and their eruption could not be silenced.